Hi, my name is Mr. Seth. I'm from Montreal, Quebec. I'm a songwriter and music producer. And today I'm going to disclose Kryptos Key that everybody has been searching for 34 years. For those who will know, Kryptos is a sculpture at the CIA headquarters in Langley, made by Jim Sanborn in 1990. It contained an encrypted text, and the last part that we call K4 hasn't been solved yet. I've been working on Kryptos for 5 years and found the key only after a few months. But let me tell you that even with the key, it's not that simple. I first saw a post on Kryptos back in 2017 and it got my attention. I thought if it hadn't been solved for 29 years, it must be that people weren't looking for the right thing. So I started to learn about cryptography and worked on Kryptos in my spare time. And after researching, my first thought was that Jim Sanborn had used Le Sphinx. Le Sphinx is a pocket cryptographic device developed around 1930 by Georges Lugagne in Paris. The device consists of 10 sliding bars with 2 scrambled alphabets each and should therefore be classed as an alphabet transposition cipher. The Sphinx is a visual device, and it linked Howard Carter and cryptography, so it made sense. Jim Sanborn said that he was a visual artist and no cryptographer expert. So I kind of built the Sphinx with cardboards and played with it for a while, but nothing came out of it. About 5 months after I started working on Kryptos, I decided to start from scratch, and I transcribed all the text to an Excel sheet. And after looking at the tableau, I just saw it. Now, before I go on, I have to say that Kryptos is probably not what you all think of it. I guess a lot of people will be deceived and even be mad because of the time they spent in the wrong direction. And I get it, but it won't change the reality of it. So what is Kryptos? Kryptos is actually a card and grill cipher invented by Girolamo Cardano. A card and grill is made from a sheet of paper or thin metal, and some areas are cut out at different places to make a pattern. You take the grill, put the message in those cut out areas, and fill out the rest with words that should make sense for a normal message. So here's the grill or key on Kryptos. The thing is that on the actual sculpture, you won't see the contour because Jim made it flush on the right side. So you had to transcribe the text to see it. Not that I care to convince you, but here's a few quotes from Jim himself. Quote, "There are encoding systems which use pattern, light, and shadow, and it's those kind of systems that I was most interested in using because I'm an artist. I like to use spatial systems of encoding and decoding." He also said, "As a visual artist, I like to rely on systems that include visual material. It's also well known that I did use some matrix codes, and I have also designed visual systems for encoding, which are much harder for cryptographers." Another quote, "How do you deliver a message in such a way that it conveys not only the encrypted data, but also the key?" So here we have the key directly on Kryptos. He also commented how it was odd that no one had recovered the original matrix. And now you understand why I've been saying for years that no computer can solve K4. It's a pen and paper thing. So with this pattern, we have a few different possible keys. It could be that we use all those letters in the tips, like so. Or those in the valley, the first like this, like so. It could be that we use all of them in the valleys, etc. Or if you put a line right there, could be those, and here you go, there's another pattern. So we have 4 possible keys, but that was too simple for Jim. So the missing X. For those who wouldn't know, in 1999, the 3 first parts of Kryptos were solved with a computer, and the last words of part 2 were 44 seconds west, ID by Rose. 7 years later, in 2006,
Jim Sanborn finally corrected it, stating that a letter was omitted, an X, from the side of Kryptos, and I quote, "It was for aesthetic reasons, to keep the sculpture visually balanced." When adding the missing X, it then decrypted to X layer 2. And that X changed everything. It changed the keys and the decrypting. Look at the letter O and what it does to the keys. So was it to make sure that it couldn't be solved for a period of time, like 16 years, till he announced the missing X? Or is it because the first step is to use the ID by row key and then the X layer key? All I know is that it multiplied the work by 2, and if it wasn't of that letter, I would have probably already solved it, because you can spend years with the wrong key. So we have 3 possible keys that are affected by the missing X and one with no changes. The one not affected by the X is the one that would use the tip like shown before, for a total of 6 different possible keys. I calculated that with a single key there's about 11,464 positions. You can use the key like this, like this, like this, or like this. But then you can flip it and you have 4 other possibilities. So there's actually 8 possible positions with each key. And there's at least 6 possible keys. So it means there's a minimum of 68,784 positions to decrypt. And I mean decrypt because it's not in actual plain English. And by the way, did you know that Jim had help from a prominent fiction writer? As an example, here's the first 2 keys I did. One I did with a marker, which uses the tips, like I've shown before. And the other I cut from paper, which uses what I call the valleys. Anyway, this is not a theory, it is fact. I've been decoding Kryptos for the last 5 years with the keys, and I've got tons of material to prove it. But there's a lot to learn and a lot to know before getting anywhere. And by the way, did you know that carton grills are considered as steganography? You have to understand that by giving away the key, I burned the only advantage I had. And you may wonder why I would do such a thing after working hundreds or thousands of hours on it. Well, the first reason is that decrypting is hard and it's a very long process. And the more people working on it, the more chances we have to solve it soon. Anyway, anyhow, I'll be sharing my secrets because maybe I'm not meant to be the chosen one who solved it. The second reason is because the world is crazy. If you look around, it's a messy time. So I want to give some hope and challenge everybody to do something creative and positive. Because the good news is that anybody can work on it. No need to know about cryptography. All you need is brain power, a dictionary, and a lot of time. If anybody want to reach me or get a PDF with the tableau so you can cut out the keys, you can reach me at this address. So good luck to you all and cheers.